All right, we live. Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, glory, and respect to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All right, to the scattered Israelites, which will be the speckled bird. All right.
Hey, actually, you know what? I'll share some of that history. We can start with that, man. I had, and you know, and I'm gonna do a sit down on this a little later, just go into more in depth. But you know how there was a video that came out maybe about 10 days ago or so. Well, there was a clip of Glenn Beck talked about how the CEO of these Fortune 500 companies had called in this he called in this what they call a motivational speaker, and they pay them guys a lot of money, man, the motivational speakers. And they called in this motivational speaker to somebody get that I shall be evil toward that brother. And they called in this motivational speaker, and the motivational speaker said something to the effect that he said something to the effect to the CEOs that you have to embrace that everything you've learned about American history and about America is a lie. And he said that if you and until you can embrace that, that is your white privilege. He said, if you can't accept that, you don't want to deal with that, then that right there is your white privilege. And then Glenn Beck had this look on his face. He's like, you mean to tell me that everything I learned about America was a lie? You know, and he was like, you know, well, I don't want to accept that. You know, basically that's what he said. But it's not about what you want to accept. It's about what it is. Because you had something called census enumerators. All right? And census enumerators, what they would do is they would take Gadites, all right, or Reubenites that looked like Judah, and they would reclassify them as Negroes. Or they would do the same thing. You know, if Judah had mixed with one of the other tribes or Edomite or something, and they had that look, they would reclassify them as something else. So even a mulatto, they gave mulatto a whole race, a class, as if mulatto was really a race. It's not a race. All right? It clearly tells you, Numbers 1 and 18, real quick. All right? Doesn't matter what your outward appearance looks like. It's literally who your father is, man. Whoever your father is, that is what you are. Point blank, period. End of argument. There is no argument. End of statement. He can't have that. All right? Anybody got it?
Yep. This Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
By the house of their fathers. All right? And if it's anyone on the comment board, I want you to look up the word that I'm about to bring out, because one of the sayings in one of the books that was written about this particular group of people, it started with that scripture, and that's what you call the Huguenots. All right, sounds like juggernaut. All right, and I stumbled upon this by watching a video that brother Cootie Merrill put up. You know, and you know, I don't know who he learned under. He does call on the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem that was shy. He'd acknowledge, you know, the 12 tribes and, you know, all that. I don't know his doctrine and specifics, but the brother be going in on the history, man. And I heard him talking about the Huguenots. And so I watched, you know, it was a long-ass video, man. It was like a 5-hour video. And I ended up watching about 2 hours of it, all right? I watched it in like a half hour here, 20 minutes here. I kept watching it, and I was just blown away. And as I was watching it, I was looking up things and looking up words in my own research, and come to find out that these Huguenots were Israelites. That was just another name, and most of them were I won't say most of them, but a good majority of them were those Moors, those Spanish Moreno. Somebody go to Edamon online and look up Moreno. You look up that word Moreno, and it turns out that that these Huguenots, and it's spelled Huguenot. All right, that's H. And anybody, Shalom, brother. Y'all about to shoot my shot by the thought. Matter of fact, somebody can look it up now and they call it Huguenot, Huguenot. All right, and just look at all the information that's gonna pop up. All right. Yeah, for that Moreno.
Definition for Moreno. Moreno on etymology online says a Jew or a Moor in Spain who, to avoid persecution, publicly profess conversion to Christianity.
And so they profess conversion. Did it say a Christian? There's something in there about a Christian to Christianity. Now, all throughout, that's enough actually. That was the main part, because then they gonna start saying some other Muslim stuff, and right, they tell you the truth and then they start adding stuff. But it just told you that it was a Jew or a Moor. The Jews and the Moors were the same people, man. Right? They would call them the crypto Jews, the secret Jews, and they had lots of money, man. And when the Moors fell, a lot of those, and when the Moors fell, a lot of those crypto Jews came to the Americas, right? And when you look at those royal families in the what's that book? Nature Knows No Color Line. Those families are German nobility, Dutch nobility, Switzerland, because it talks about the swarthy Huguenots. That's another thing. You find anything that's talked about the Huguenots?
It says a French Protestant of the 16th, 17th century, largely Calvinist, the Huguenots suffered persecution at the hands of the Catholic majority. Many thousands emigrated from France.
Yep, and same thing happened all throughout Europe.
Right.
They were coming from everywhere, from Switzerland, from Dutch, French, Germans. These Huguenots were coming, and they came to America. All right, so a lot of them were here in the Americas, doing business and trade already in the 1600s. All right, go ahead.
It says, this is a piece. It says, persecuted by the French Catholic government during a violent period, Huguenots fled the country in the 17th century.
Even before then, though, but go ahead.
It says, creating Huguenot settlements all over Europe, in the United States, and Africa.
Yes, and in Africa. Yeah. So when they say that Jake was enslaving Jake, they were.
Right.
Because these Huguenots were labeled as Frenchmen. They were labeled as, and so that's why they started referring to them as Huguenots. Because along came later on, after these Huguenots put all their money to help build up America and build up the colonies, Esau didn't need their ass no more.
Right.
You see?
Right. Damn.
They were on. So guess who was over here? Some of the main people that were selling gas. See, you got these black-only Israelites that's always talking about how Gad was owning slaves. That's only because Judah was enslaving them.
Right.
Right. So get that. I should be evil.
This is Deuteronomy. No, you go ahead.
This Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
There you go, man. So that fit Jake in America, and that fit Jake here in America in the past. Those Huguenots were labeled as Irish, French, Germans, Protestants, but they were always called Huguenots, and they had settlements all up and down the 13 colonies, man. All right, and they was on land, and they called them planters, and mainly in Virginia, and a lot of them were called planters. Planters were short for plantation owner. So a lot of them were owning and buying slaves at the slave markets,
Right.
and they were buying their own people. And they ships weren't leaving here empty. Their ships were leaving and going to Africa, going to the islands, and going back to Europe, full of natives, man. So Jeremiah 15:33.
That's what I was looking for.
I guess I'm doing a sit down now after all.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. Thus said Yahweh Hashem Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Yes, they were. They were pressed together and they were oppressing each other, man. And I was evil toward their brothers, man. But see, you got to think about it, though. Esau likes to say, well, you were selling your own people. Esau was telling the truth about that all along. But the main places that was happening was here in America.
Right.
That wasn't happening over there. And I don't get it twisted. Esau set up the slave trade. 100%. You best believe that, man. All right, he set that shit up. But most of those slaves that were being sold here in Americas was being sold was being bought by the Huguenots. The Huguenots were owning plantations in Virginia and all of Jamestown and all them different places, man, going toward the south, man, down to Georgia. All right, they had plantations in all those places, man. All right, buying up and selling their own people, man. Did you find someone on the Huguenots too? Anybody else find anything? If you look it up, man, it's gonna start just giving you got milk, thirsty all of a sudden. It's Huguenot.
Oh, I think I got something. They say the origin of the name Huguenot is unknown but believed to have been derived from combining phrases in German and Flemish that describe their practice of home worship. It said by 1562, there were 2 million Huguenots in French with more than 2,000 churches. And then it said in January 1562, it said the edict of state German recognized the right of Huguenots to practice their religion, though with limits. It said Huguenots were not permanent to practice within towns or at night, and in effect to save fears of rebellion, they were not allowed to be armed.
There you go, man. And a lot of them were the secret Jews, man. All right? And guess what? They were all involved in banking and stuff right along with the fake Jews, man. All right?
They weren't allowed to be armed.
And there you go, man.
That's a dead giveaway.
So that's a dead giveaway right there. They weren't allowed to be armed, man. Why? That was the dead giveaway. But they came over here to America and they let them set up and they actually helped build America. As a matter of fact, through the research, you'll find out, put in Paul Revere and Huguenot and see what comes up. Because it turns out that Paul Revere's father was one of these Huguenots. All right? So when they always show you that picture of Crispus Attucks and say he was the first Negro to die in the Revolution, no, man, he was one of them damn Huguenots. And Crispus Attucks, in during that time, you knew about wealth by how many buttons you had on your garment.
Right,
all right? Poor people only had 1 or 2 buttons. The wealthy had buttons on. Every image you see of Crispus Attucks, he has buttons all the way down, man. Right? He was of nobility. He was one of those people of nobility from the Huguenot bloodline, and they were all Jakes, man. And it turns out that Paul Revere, whose name went back to the Spanish Jews from Spain, his real name was Rivera. It wasn't even Revere.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's shit crazy.
All right? It is crazy because every picture and every image I've ever seen with Paul Revere, there's some white guy riding his horse saying the redcoats are coming, the redcoats are coming. All right? So these Huguenots were fighting against their own people, destroying their own people, and enslaving their own people, man. All right? That's what they were doing. All right?
This is from the HuguenotFellowship.org. It says, I'm just skipping down. It says Paul Revere was the son of Apollos Rivere.
His name was Apollos. Whoop. Come on, man.
God. It says, who was born in 1702 and recalled in the Gironde Valley near Bordeaux. The family was French Huguenot, and because of the persecutions following the revocation of the Edict of Nantes, many thousands of Huguenots were forced to flee Protestant tolerant countries.
Yep, they went to Protestant tolerant countries because one of the reasons they didn't want to get down with the Catholics because of the idolatry. All right? That's also how you know they were Israelites.
Right.
But then you don't want to get down with idolatry, but you're gonna buy and sell your own brothers.
That sounds like Jake. Yeah.
That's like you said, man. Or was that you who said that, or was it Murph said that? That was your Jay-Z's and your Kanye's, your Steve Harveys. That was them guys, man.
Right.
That was those guys, man. Back here in the regeneration, man. with that same mentality, man.
They say Rivera's father, whose original name was Apollo Rivera, it says was a French Huguenot. It said Huguenots were French Protestants. It say was a French Huguenot. The Huguenots were French Protestants whose religion was persecuted and predominantly Roman Catholic French.
And that's why they came here to America, man. That's the reason. This was one of the main spots that they came to because they got ran. I wish I had a copy of Nature Knows No Color Line, man. All right, so now we can get into that letter. If somebody can find that letter that we'll finish and change the subject. But that letter that was written by that the elder brought out, the elder Tazadak brought out that letter with Benjamin Franklin talking about the Tawny, the Germans, right? Because there you go. Because he had to make it. He had to make that difference between the German Huguenots and then the German Edomites. So that's when he wrote that letter. And next thing you know, guess what? Guess what ended up happening to all them Huguenots? The majority of them end up going into slavery, right? Because Esau turned on them. And then that's where you get movies like 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
See, you see how it all comes together, man? Because they knew that dude wasn't no slave. He was a well-to-do, upscale nigga playing with the fiddle, the violin. He was a straight up
Table manners.
Yeah, man. This dude, he had all them buttons. He had a house and a home. He wasn't no regular Jake.
I got a precept real quick. This Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Matter of fact, you could probably read some more of that.
What he was reading?
No. Sirach.
Okay, this Sirach 12 and 10.
You could go start it like. Eight. Read to 12. Yeah, 8 through 12.
This Sirach 12 and 8. A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. And
so when they were kicking it with them Edomites, building up America, having their own settlements and their own land, and they were giving. And I started reading the records about the Huguenots, man. Them dudes, you had a couple families that owned 21,000 acres, 1,000 acres. 10,000 acres. You know how much land that is? And these were Negroes in America in the 16th, 17th century, man.
Yeah, 1 acre is like almost like a football field or something.
Well, not that big, but it's pretty big.
That's a lot.
It's not that different. It's close to that though.
God.
So yeah, 21,000 acres, man. Come on, man. Jake was rolling. We all know that land is wealth. And they have plenty of slaves and things of that, and they own people. And they also had indentured servants too, Edomite indentured servants. All right. And so in 1681, all of a sudden, Mulan mine. In 1681, all of a sudden, in 1681, all of a sudden, this label white came about.
Yep.
Why? Especially when you learn about the Bacon's Rebellion and all the things that happened prior to 1681.
Yep.
All right, the things that happened, that rebellion that happened in 1684, and all the other things that happened up to that point, man. And how through the research of Dr. Jacqueline Batalora, Dr. Robert D'Angelo, and the historian Theodore Allen, they brought all that information out, man. And they also admitted in their research that the women, the Edomite women that were coming, and the Jake women that were coming from Europe, they were marrying Jake. They were so these white males, these so-called newfound creation of people that now label themselves white, prior to them labeling themselves white and setting up all these laws that gave them favor, they had to get favor over those Huguenots. They didn't have to get favor. Now I understand, like when she said that these women would rather be with an indentured servant. A lot of those indentured servants were Huguenots, and they were only in servitude for 5, 6, 7 years.
Right.
And then they got all their lands and all their money and all that stuff. So they wrote all these laws to keep that from happening. You see? It all starts to make sense now, man. So everything you learned about America is a lie, man.
Yep.
It is a lie.
Yep.
Okay, Con, we gonna bring it out. Finish that, brother.
This is Sirach 12:9. In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in the adversity, even a friend will depart. Never trust.
So those women, what did they do? Once Jake couldn't own no land and slaves and have all that, they didn't stay with him.
Yeah, because women are addicted to power, man. They just addicted to power.
They'll take a very weak sex to live comfortably.
Yeah.
And over getting they back blown out, and they're being emotionally satisfied. They're like, fuck that. They'll give up. They'll give all that up for comforts, man.
Get it on the side.
Or they'll get it on the side, right? Right. You know, like them rich bitches on the Gold Coast. They be banging Jake, or they be banging their personal trainer, or that big ass dude from Sweden named Hans. They damn masseuse. Right. Or the dude giving them tennis lessons. Right. The tennis instructor popping. The young buff dude.
The swimming pool guy.
Exactly. The swim instructor.
Yeah.
Right. With the Swedish accent. He popped right. But that be going on for real though.
Yeah.
Right?
This Sirach 12:10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusts, so is his weakness. Though he humble him,
so is his wickedness, man.
Yep.
It rusts.
Oh yeah.
All right. You know, it's like a really good sword. It's gonna eventually need oil on it.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna start to rust, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Though
A cheap one is gonna rust faster.
Oh, okay.
You know, when one is decent, it don't rust as fast. Go ahead.
though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
There you go, man. You will know that his rust has not altogether been wiped away, man. So like I said, these Huguenots helped set up America and enslave their own people, man. Both northern and southern kingdom. All right, and some of them even had Esau as indentured servants, man. All right, and so when Ben Franklin and the founding fathers got together, they were like, "Fuck this." Now this new form of humanity had been set in place. You have this new thing called white. You know, because prior to that, no people on the planet referred to as that. And it started right here in America, in Virginia, and it eventually spread to the whole world. And that makes sense because then all of a sudden, here come Johann Blumenbach, and then the false white superiority doctrine started to rise up. They created this new thing of whiteness, all right. And then that's when Johann Blumenbach and who came after him, Sigmund Freud. And all that bullshit started being, all this intelligence levels, and then that's how they attached their false science, their pseudoscience, to their lie IQ. They attached that to the Bible because they took Ham, Shem, and Japheth and made Negroid, Crocodile, and Mongoloid. They created those false labels, and they've been running with it ever since, man. Right? But here's where the real separation. You got that letter?
Yeah.
You got it, brother?
Okay. So the letter, Benjamin Franklin wrote this letter. It's called Observations of Mankind, and he tells the truth. Yep. So this is from an article.
And you better believe this was directed directly. This wasn't directed at the slaves. The slaves were in slavery.
Right.
So when it all makes sense
Yeah,
now.
no reason to
Now
lie.
when I'm thinking about the when the elder brought it out, I'm like, wow. And then when I learned this, it all came together like a puzzle piece, man.
That shit crazy.
This right, but this was written to those Huguenots that were in power, that actually owned land, had slaves, had white wives, newly found, created. Right. Okay. They had all that. Go ahead.
It's from an article from the Atlantic. It's called Swarthy Germans.
Swarthy. Somebody look up swarthy.
That's where you get Swartz from.
As a matter of fact, look up
Schwarzenegger.
the word Moriscos in the etymon as well. It's Morics, Moriscus. Let me see.
Yeah, get that Swarty.
What we say?
Yeah, you
say
read. Or you read. All right, just read from that paragraph.
I got that swarthy.
Yeah, go ahead.
The definition for swarthy is dark skin.
Cut. That's a cut.
He said dark, and he said dark color.
So read that.
Yeah.
And this is like in that article from the Atlantic. It says,
That's gonna take
which leads me to add one remark that the number of purely white people in the world.
See, so all of a sudden, because you got to remember, Huguenots were called German, they were called Dutch, they were called French. Right. They weren't exactly. The term in white, black, really, that hadn't been established yet. All right. Oh, well, it had by this time.
That the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black and tawny. Asia chiefly.
Wait. Look up Tawny now. Slow it down, brother.
Look up Tony. Yeah, fancy African. No, I'm great. I just sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, the brother just got dental surgery.
The word
I told you, he's still out here. Matter of fact, I told you not. Don't even come, brother. Go let your mouth heal. The brother out here now.
the word tawny is of an orange brown, a yellowish brown color.
A yellowish brown color, like a light skinned
Monet.
or a brown skinned Negro.
Like a mulatto.
All right, tawny. Right. Matter of fact, that's not far from his skin color. Matter of fact, when you look at the two of us, we kind of in the middle of that. All right.
Yeah, it really is though.
So So he talking to tawny people and swarthy people. Why? Because Jake coming. Look at all the different shades of brown here, man. From light brown, right. Look at exactly. All them different shades of brown.
That's right, the same color.
Right. There you go, man.
Go ahead.
It says, all Africa was black and tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. America exclusive of the newcomers, wholly sold.
All right, so America was tawny too. All right, because Gad was over here just as dark as Negroes. All right, you see, man, we killing y'all with the truth.
The
man.
truth, baby. Keep going.
Killing, hey, and you black only Israelites, man, y'all cut, man. Y'all through. All right. Because you always talking about, hey, them same black Americans you talking about, though a lot of them they were Gadites, they were already here. All right, and then the rest of them were the Huguenots, man, and the Huguenots was enslaving both. So y'all cut. All you always crying talking about, well, the Mexicans enslaved us. Shut your dumb ass up, man.
Right.
Talking about Chavez and them was enslaving you. You mean Chavez, them Edomite Spaniards?
Right. Read that.
I'll read this real quick. It is 2 Corinthians, because the elder said, man, this truth is very devastating to this current ruling structure.
That's right.
It is 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Right. We swinging the word like Conan's sword, man. All right.
It says, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion.
Ooh, see? So and that's the Huguenots. What? So that's it, right. It said that's swarthy. Read swarthy again.
It said dark skin.
Now this was written by one of America's founding forefathers.
That's right.
How you gonna argue with that, man? Y'all stand on them niggas. Man. They stand on Ben Franklin. They stand on Sam Adams and right. They stand on them dudes, man. And so Ben Franklin, this is what he wrote about those Huguenots that came here to America. Read it again, brother. That same part you just read.
I was thinking Baba was shot.
No, you know I like to do it 2 and 3 times.
Kind.
Right, because I just can't hit you once. I gotta hit you this way. I gotta give you the overhand.
Again, this is from the Observations of Mankind, written by Benjamin Franklin himself.
Right, and this was first brought out by the Elder Tazadak. All right.
And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion.
Right. And they were in here in America, ruling and having power, owning land. All right, and now they had established this this new form of humanity, which they were referring to as white. But go ahead.
It reads, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted, who with the English,
Which is a lie, because they were trying to say they were the Anglo-Saxons. No, you were the new revised.
Right.
But go ahead.
make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth.
So that whole white superiority lie was being well established during the time of Ben Franklin, man. Because right here he's saying that they're the Anglo-Saxons, and we know that's not true, man. Go ahead. Right, they were not the angelic sons of Jacob, man.
It says, I could wish their numbers were increased.
He's talking about you Edomites. He wishes their numbers were increased.
Right, not to mention your women was getting over here and marrying Huguenots. They were and Gad. They were marrying Gadites too, because some of the Gadites also became landowners. All right, go ahead.
It reads, and while we are, as I may call it, scoring our planet by clearing America of woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus, why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people?
Hey, that's a cut, man. He's cut.
So he's telling you that we got to stop mixing and mingling with these
Right.
people. It's time to get rid of them.
He said
That's
right.
basically what he's saying.
Right.
That's she gone.
Can I read this real quick?
Absolutely, brother.
This is Obadiah, verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heap. Matter of fact, let me start at 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh, concerning Edom. It says, we have heard a rumor from Yahweh, an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise you, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. So that confirms what Benjamin Franklin said. You know, he said in this letter that so-called Edomites are the minority, man. Right?
And they still are.
Yep. All right.
They still are. They were the minority. And because remember, these people, these Huguenots were labeled as German. They weren't labeled as Negroes.
Right.
All right. That's why they were this title Huguenot, because they were buying Negroes.
Right.
Right. That was a major commodity, and a lot of these Huguenots, they were fur traders. But guess what else? They weren't just trading beaver fur. They would trade Gadites. All right. So they were selling. So they were a bunch of wicked ass sellout 2/3 niggas. And I had heard before that the Moors was some of the biggest race traders in the history of mankind. And you guys still running around claiming that shit, that Moorish shit, and the Moors were doing nothing but selling other Negroes, man, so-called, selling other Israelites, man. And the same thing with those Spanish Jews, man. Them crypto Jews, right? Which were Israelites, all right? We still got that Morisco and that Moreno.
Back in the article, it reads, why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America?
So wait a minute. So he just made a connection to the people in Germany,
Right.
to the sons of Africa.
Right.
See, because you know why he said that? Because that white superiority doctrine was well in place, and they could not and did not want to admit that these men were the sons of that's why they called them Huguenots and not Israelites. They knew who they were. Right?
It says, where we have why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity, by excluding all blacks and tawnies, of increasing the lovely white and red? And that's a question mark right there. But perhaps I am partially to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind.
So he was partial to that pale flesh, and he didn't want to say Edomites because they knew they were the Edomites then. Why do you think they went through such great feats to hide who they were? You know.
Right, like the saying they got, the devil's biggest lie was that he doesn't exist.
Khan. Now just to put the icing on the cake, when we bring out those two definitions, bring that one out once again and then bring yours behind it. Because another name for Morenos was Morisco. all right? The Moriscos and the crypto Jews, all right? And so, which was the same as the Morenos, which he's about to read. Read it, brother.
There's the online etymology dictionary, Moreno. It says a Jew or a Moor in Spain.
Around what circle? What year?
It says
15 something?
Yep, 1580s.
There you go.
It says to avoid persecution, publicly profess conversion to Christianity,
Right?
while privately continuing the practice and the belief of their old religion.
And that's why they were not allowed to be armed. And that's why they were getting persecution from the different Catholics. And that's why when you watch all those TV shows with the Vikings and the Saxons fighting each other, it's the same shit. Right? Because you Edomites were not the Vikings. Sorry. You were not the Spartans. You are not the Anglo-Saxons. He just let you know you weren't even the German and the Scots and the French. All right? Ben Franklin let you know that. All right? Go ahead.
All right, this Morisco of or pertaining to Moorish design 1550s.
So same time frame.
Yep.
Right? Because the Moors were in rule in Portugal and Spain.
Yep.
They ruled over Portugal and Spain for 700 plus years, man. All right? And among them, that what was with them all along was the Morenos.
Yep.
So you had this was the issue with Othello. All right? Because Othello's family, Othello came from a Moorish family that worshiped Allah, all right? And the chick came from a Christian family. But see, Esau portrays those Christians as being white. When Ben Franklin just let you know that all those people was not. Those Germans, those Irish, none of them, they weren't white, man. All right, because as a matter of fact, which means Shakespeare himself wasn't, man.
Right.
Because it was called, because remember, ain't no white man gonna write no love story about some nigga banging some white chick in the 1500s, man. That wasn't gonna fucking happen, man. If they were in rulership.
Right.
You think that during the Renaissance, all right, when they got power over, in the 1500s, when they got power over, because, right, when they came into power, so this was a plan all along, man. It just didn't come full. It took a couple hundred years to get it, because, like I said, that label white wasn't published until 1681, man.
That's right.
All right? Good. But go ahead, brother, some more to that.
No, actually that was it.
That was enough, man. I told you that the Moriscos, all right, the Moriscos were the Moriscos, which is the Moors, and the crypto Jews, which was the Morenos, and then the Christians. And we all know that a true Christian was an Israelite, man.
That's right.
So there it is.
Yeah, I can read a piece of it real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 25. It says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. They called his name Esau. And after that, his brother came out, and took hold Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And like the elder was mentioning, man, hey, when the brother was just reading that letter, man, he said basically that they was basically inferior to the elite race, which was the so-called different shades of browns, or the different Germans and different colors in the Germans and whatever they classified themselves as, man. Esau was inferior to us, man. We was always the stronger. That's why he said he wished they was multiplied in numbers, man, because they was just being outnumbered. And that's why they had to self-proclaim themselves as the white man, put them false images up so they can stay in power. It's been broke by the elders, man.
They put laws in place too, man. They put laws in place that their women, that pale women, could no longer marry Huguenots or natives of the Americas when they're here in America, man.
Yeah.
And so that means that what they were doing land grabs. So just like they were taking all the land away from Gad and giving it to the Huguenots, and the Huguenots were fighting Gad. Matter of fact, guess who else was a Huguenot? I thought I was done. It's locked. Was the family that Davy Crockett came from. I grew up my whole life seeing Davy Crockett as a white guy. But Davy Crockett came from he was a Gadite killing his own brothers, Buffalo Soldier style, man. And was one of the main ones clearing out those lands and moving the Gadites off and bringing in the Huguenots and doing trades and shit all on that land. And who you think he was trading? They weren't just, like I said, they weren't just selling furs, man. They were selling jakes, man. So you can look that up too. Davy Crockett, because his name wasn't Crockett. Crockett is a made up name. They had a French name or something. But Davy Crockett, his father and his father's fathers also were Huguenots and go back to the came from Europe. The same people that Ben Franklin was talking about, man.
It is Isaiah 25 verse 7. It says that he will destroy and dismount the face of the covering cast over all the people and the veil that is spread over all nations. And the reason why the brother want to bring this out because through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, the Most High has teared down all these lies that's been fucking out here, bro. And that's just simple as that. As far as the prophets.
I got a precept for that. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. Hey, so all this deceit is being quenched. It's been pushed since Esau's been in rulership. And now through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, through the prophets, we're putting all these lies. All right, we're bringing all these lies to trial right now. You know, and shit, we got the witnesses, the relics, the history.
And then it's their own history that's condemning.
Right.
Psalm 64 and 8. Because they the one that wrote about the Huguenots, man. The Huguenots wasn't writing about themselves. Esau did.
I got one more verse.
Go ahead.
28. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And that's what's happening. You know, all the lies are being brought down, like the brother brought out, the strongholds are getting taken down, and what's happening now, the truth is coming out.
It's the Psalm 64.
I got it. Because all that information that was wrote, that wasn't put up by Israelites. That information was put up by Edomites, man. Yeah.
This Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
Yep. Break it down, brother.
Oh, yeah, man. So that's what y'all been doing, man. Especially with the history that you've been writing. You're going against your own self, man. And now, hey, that's why at the time they didn't want us to learn how to read and stuff like that, man. And understand what we read, because when we do that, you know what I'm saying, and actually do our research and stuff like that, we see that you just against yourself, man. And a house divided against itself cannot stand, man.
Yeah. Right. You got a question, brother? Yeah, let them bring the scripture out. And they also made sure that this sort of they made sure that this sort of information didn't make it into the textbooks. Because we didn't learn about this in school. And I've seen that name Huguenot before, and just went right by it. Went right by it.
Because in the history books, when I was in school among Esau, man, they have this a section on slavery, and then they'd say, they'd show the first cowboy, which was actually a Jake, they'd show that one picture, but it was one paragraph, and that was it. The rest was just the rest of the American history. You know what I'm saying? But they don't give you the full detail, man. You got to do research for it.
There's the book of Psalms 8 and verse 1. The chief position upon gift, the Psalm of David. O Yahweh our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, which we are exalted. Who not set thy glory above the heavens, out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of the enemies, that thou mightest heal the enemy and the avenger. The Most High is the orchestrator for all this, man, bringing this kingdom down, the truth coming out, the precepts coming out, man. The Lord ordained this, man. He gave us the strength to sit out here stand boldly when the face of steps out to look at us, put all these lines out here, we breaking these strongholds, man.
It's Mark 3 and 25. And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. Right? Hey man, you have an end, man. There's a bound that you cannot pass. And you reached it.
Matter of fact, get that joke. Bring up this scripture.
John chapter 8, verse 32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That's me. All this truth coming out, man. About making a pray, speaking about all these lies that Esau been telling, all this stuff, man. All this stuff been in the dark so long, man. It's time to come to the light.
God, Luke 8:17. Perfect. Go ahead, brother. What you got?
This is Luke chapter 8, verse 17. It says, "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad."
That's right, man. So anything that was hidden in secret, it's all coming out now. All right, so we didn't realize how powerful a statement that was, man. When they had pulling the red, what's his name, Glenn Beck, all perplexed. Like, he was like, everything about America tonight? Everything? Yes, Mr. Beck, everything.
And
It's all a lie, man.
right, all the people that suffer where they've been told lies so long that even when the truth comes out with all the facts, they still don't accept the truth, even though it's showing them the facts, because they've been taught this life for so long, they go against the beliefs.
It's hurt. Basically, they hurt. And I had a psychiatrist tell me that basically they hold on to the lies. She knew she's not. She said it many times. They hold on to the lies because it gives them a certain level of comfort. If you take it away, they got nothing else. A lot of them will just go into despair, commit suicide, and all that other
The
thing.
one Edomite chick that came up and we cut her and started crying?
Yeah.
Hey,
She broke down because her whole belief system got crushed, and she saw it for herself. Because she started reading along, she actually started listening, and then started reading, and she was like, "Fuck, they're right." And when he hit her, that was classic, man. And she basically started screaming. I ain't never seen nobody cry that loud, man. That shit was crazy, man.
Yeah.
It fucked her up and then she just like walked off, like, "Fuck you, fuck
You're
this
right.
book, fuck it, it don't matter."
That's right.
I gotta appreciate the song.
Lamentations 4:20.
18. But let the lion lips be put to silence, which will speak grievous things proudly when it continues against the righteous. So right now, all you devils, man, y'all get found out. So now y'all know it, man. And start smoking. A lot of wickedness against us, man. Put us there on all this ill will, address, and that was just being known. That's why they're being this phone, man. You know, or you think you know, you speaking lies to others? No. But how about you got shot because you just slapped?
No, just like that little lying-ass rat-looking Fauci, man. Back in March, he had a video saying that the mask is useless. That it actually hurts you more than it helps you, right? And then he turned around about a month later and said everybody got to wear the mask. When he's on video, on record, saying that a cloth mask and a surgical mask does nothing for you. And it doesn't. It actually harms you more than it helps you. Women walk around breathing her whole body's refuges. All her refuges that her body's pushing out is staying right there. She's breathing it right back in. Right? You know, that's like you're exhausted when that's what exhaust like. It has to go out of the car and go to the car.
Right, when you breathe out the carbon dioxide, your lungs takes the oxygen and turns it to carbon dioxide.
Right.
That carbon dioxide, you're not giving your body the oxygen it needs to just breathe in there. And it's bloodstream. Blood needs the oxygen to circulate.
That means that all these people that are wearing these masks, two things are going to happen. They're all going to have high blood pressure by the time it's over. Their blood pressure is going to go up. Their stress levels are going to go up. And now there's a medical condition that dentists are now calling mask mouth. Right? It's causing mask mouth. And what's happening is that people get infections in in their mouths and in their gums, and their gums are starting to recede. That's what's happening as a result of wearing these masks all the time. And some people wear them, they're in their car, like you said, they wear them all the time, man. All right, they wear it right. So it's creating a medical condition that dentists are now calling mask harm. And I've just watched the video I did a response to, and I didn't show that part of the video. I actually cut it, you know, to go into my commentary of the scriptures. But Gerald Salente and many others, he's not the only one that said this whole lockdown and the wearing of the mask is doing more damage. The computer's doing more damage than the disease itself. Because when you look at the amount of suicides, the amount of stress-related illnesses, the cardiac issues that are starting to happen, and when you look at all the drug abuse and the suicides, when you look at everything else, it's actually causing more deaths and causing more social and physical issues than the actual COVID itself.
The mortality rate's like 99%. Only like in America, there's only like 1% of people dying from this shit. That 1% ain't shit.
Right.
You know, out of 100, 1% is enough. You know, and out of the world, it's less than 1%. It's like 0.7%. So the shit ain't doing nothing. It's just a fucking flu that.
And the flu is still worse. As a matter of fact, in Germany, in Germany, and Greece, and about 3 or 4 more of the European countries, they're not wearing masks at all. They're doing things and no social distancing. And they're doing everything is normal. Their cases are going up. Esau will be found alive, man.
I just looked up carbon dioxide before we breathe out carbon dioxide. If you got the mask on all the time, you're just breathing carbon dioxide into the mask. And I looked up side effects. It said it can produce a variety of health effects. These may include headaches, dizziness, restlessness, a tingling or pins or needles feeling, difficulty breathing, sweating, tiredness, increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, coma.
Right. So you're right. So you're gonna get an increased heart rate. So, like I said, by the time it's over, all these people wearing these masks are gonna have high blood pressure.
Oh,
And many other illnesses. Like I said, the mask is doing more damage than good, man.
Yeah.
But dumbass people, they won't do no research. They won't read. They just listen to whatever they say on Fox News, and then they do that dumb shit what he doing right there.
You gotta think about it. For the pharmaceutical companies and shit, they don't profit if you're not sick.
Right.
So they're not gonna tell you what to take, whatever to get to heal yourself, because in that case they're gonna be losing trillions of dollars a year or billions of dollars.
That's right.
So if they keep you in a state where your body's always breaking itself down, always catching shit, which that mask is allowing your body to weaken its immune system so you can catch the shit easier. Hey, they're basically making more money now. It's just gonna be a lot of more cases of people just getting more sick.
Plus the activation.
Right.
But the shit that they're spraying, like I said, we're standing here under these trees. Now, I don't care where you go in the city, what park you go to, you're gonna look around and see trees, and half the trees, half the limbs are dead in the trees. The trees don't fully bloom. And that's evidence that the shit they spraying is coming down and it's messing up, just like everyone's lawns are made. Oh yeah. Yeah, all the lawns are fucked up. And so the Israelite dude who does a lot of the lawns on my block, man, he's like, it's not just you, man, it's everybody. He said it's whatever that shit they put in the sky, even he knew that. Alright, he don't know nothing about this. He was like, yeah, they spraying that shit. Because that's what he does for a living. All he's doing is trimming bushes and trees all day. So he's noticing it. He's like, man, what the fuck? Right. So whatever's doing that, it's doing it. It's weakening your immune system. It's breaking you down.
Shit, wait till they turn on the 5G. It's rad.
Oh man. Oh, it's on. Wait till they turn it up. Yeah. So whatever they spraying in the 5G, that's where this is at. You wait till it turn up.
Like in the Kingsland, we hit the switch on their ass in the church, and they went bananas in the church and they each other. Right, the vaccine is going to have those fucking microchips, like nanotechnology. And they've been talking about that shit. And they got that brain chip thing coming out to it. They got all kinds of
What's that movie called with Vin Diesel? It's like Bloodshot. They shoot him and the blood comes back in the nanobox and rebuilds it back up. That's gonna be in your body. Esau hit the switch, but nanobots start acting up in your body and like
all the people that's gonna take that vaccination. Right. One might turn you to a damn psycho killer, kill your whole family. Then you wait for out.
Shit, in Revelation it talks about the ones who receive the chip and then the bust out with the sword. I got Job 20 and verse 5. That the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. So like basically all this information that the elder just brought out, man, is history, man. Hey, the solution ain't to jack up guns and food and protest and march and try to fit in with them, man. And the solution is that knowing that hey, this guy's time is up, man. And the Most High is gonna come back and judge this place, man. That's right.
This is Psalm 59 and 12. For the sins of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying with which they speak. Exactly. So all that lying that you're doing, that you're speaking, and Yahweh Shabbat Shah is going to deal with you. Right? The cursing and all the wickedness, man. Hey, the Lord said, let you be taken in your pride. So, hey, man, you gonna get dealt with. You're not gonna have the best conduct, best eating rights, and nothing. It's not happening. That's Revelation 13.
Water.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. There's the patient with faith in the sea. You're gonna have to be faithful. The patient wait to get changed. Rejoice and be glad with all that. Because sometimes it's up. Captivity and I've been a couple. We already dealt with it. We had it to hey, the Lord about to bring us up better. Hey, that's just what it is. So you don't have to pay all the pride that you put upon this way to work. You know, you gotta account for everything, man. You know, ain't like on the front of your wallet always said that. You might as well take a yellow tape and print it around the whole earth. You know, for all the crimes that you committed, man.
This is St. John 8 and 44. This is Yahweh talking to the wicked Israelites, but he's basically talking about Esau. They learned this shit from him. It's ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye would do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. Right, going back to Cain. Alright, he was a murderer from the beginning, because Cain came back in the reincarnation that we saw. Okay, and there's no truth in them, so they're always going to tell you a lie. It says, because there is no truth in them, when you speak the lie, you speak of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So all the lies he pushes is only for his agenda. You know, it's for his own. All these lies that he's been pushing since the beginning of time.
Hey, the biggest lie on the planet claims to be dust. You don't have to pay for that, man. You touch the Lord's, the apple of the Lord's eye, man. You know, so you don't have to pay for that. And the lie saying that y'all putting the image of Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You covered the faces of the judges, man. You're not wearing the image. You covered the faces of the true judges. And now we be able to feel. Hey, what nigga don't want to accept it, oh well, we're gonna be destroyed. It's the truth, man. The truth is being known. Hey, the scripture says, man, you know, hold on, this is Isaiah 8 and 20. It says, to this law and to this testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light. And of course they don't like these things, because it does according to this word. They go into their own unrighteous decrees that they create, man, to get this world into chaos, man. Exactly, man. He says, they're done too. You know? Hey, man, hey, all of you devils are done. It's over with for you. You're wearing the terror. You did what you had to do. You accomplished. You did a good job. You know, you go there and clap for that, man.
Nobody could have did a better job. They were the best devils.
Yeah.
Get to your reward.
It's time for you to go down now, man. Hey, man, hey, the Lord is coming to redeem the true children of the elect of Israel, man. And that's what you're coming for. You're coming for the devil. You don't have a place for the devil.
I got something right quick. 2 Thessalonians 2:8. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. So Esau's being revealed as the wicked. Malachi the 1st chapter, Job the 9th chapter, like the brother was talking about. And how? It's through this word, us being out here pushing the truth. Alright, it says, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So the Edomites will be here when Yahweh returns. Vocab. Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. So that's all Esau's going to be doing. He's coming in the spirit of Satan, which is signs and lying wonders. All right, he's going to be shit.
And signs, and some of that's those signs and false wonders. Some of their inventions, the drugs, the miracle drugs, the nanotechnology. You know, how the chip can make people that couldn't use their leg again, and all that kind of shit.
The movie Upgrade.
That's great.
Perfect example.
And it says, verse 10, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness. So he's coming with all forms of deception. You know, shit. Who knows what he still got the Project Bluebeam shit. You know, he still got a whole bunch of shit that he's getting ready to use that they big had. You know.
I got a precept. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, and that day should come, the second coming from the resurrection, which shall happen to us before the day. That's what we're going to get us back. That man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, be revealed, man. So everybody knows why. There's no hiding, you know. You can keep pushing your lies, that's bad. And you're going to take the trouble of wrap it all up. And these niggas is simple. And that's just what's going on, what it is. Y'all want to listen to whatever the devil says. That's why I said something.
You just know something. I got to do. All right, before we pay the camp, I got down here. I went sit down and had a meal, right? So let me eat. I had to eat. Let me eat before I pick the brothers. So, to walk into the restaurant,
Right.
you got to put the mask on. So I break out my mask, you know, break out my mask. I walk into the restaurant, I sit down at the table, take the mask off, like everybody else. As if there's just some magical barrier at the edge of my table, where as long as I'm eating, I'm protected from whatever the boogeyman is out there. But as soon as I get up and step away from my table, I gotta put on my shoes, right, to manipulate. It's bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. I mean, think about it, man. There's a dude sitting 3 feet away from me. All right. So once he sat down, he pulled his mask up, so I guess his invisible shield went up too. Right. So as long as we stay at our tables, man, we okay. Right?
I seen a meme where it was like the dude had a mask on and he's all like, how is this gonna protect me from COVID when if I can fart and the fart goes through my underwear, it goes through my jeans, and I can still smell it through my mask. It's like, damn, what's the mask gonna do? It's just like what was that one doctor Sean? He said it's like wearing a gate and you got mice going through it. Like,
yeah,
when you see
like
people,
trying to hide behind a gated fence from mosquitoes.
right?
Trying to figure out why you keep getting bit.
When you see the people in the CDC moving COVID around, they're not moving it with a mask on. They're moving it with hazmat suits on. They're actually protecting themselves the right way, having a whole hazmat
from head to toe. And to enter from one room to another, you have to go into the decontamination. They spray the hot ass air, the liquid mist on your gloves, the bacteria killing shit in it. Right? You sprayed it out. Then they got certain levels of that shit, man. That's the man. Wearing that little mask is not doing shit for you, man.
It's like they got TB, tuberculosis is highly contagious.
Yep.
We ain't never had no shutdown. We
Never.
had no mask.
As a matter of fact, TB killed 1.5 million people in 2019.
Right.
That was and that was worldwide. So that was a legitimate pandemic. But they didn't shut the whole world down behind that. They didn't shut down the movie theaters behind that.
And
TB is way more contagious and way more dangerous.
Only the smart.
Matter of fact, they will give you a TB test to start most jobs.
They ain't stopping. Right. They ain't saying, no, you know, TV said we got some levels and shit.
Right. And that's cured. But they want to sell the pills. That's why they killed Dr. Sebi. Even that wicked nigga who actually got killed himself. What's his name? Nipsey Hussle. We was about to do a documentary on Dr. Sebi, man. The man cured herpes and AIDS and a whole bunch of other diseases that supposedly can't be. He cured all that shit, man. All right? He did. He should be one of the most famous men in American history. But half the people in America, more than half, don't even know who the hell he is. Never heard of him. How you gonna cure AIDS and not be heard of? That's gonna not. You know why? Because it was a threat to the pharmaceuticals, man. They got billions of dollars riding on that HIV medication. So here you come with some cure, talking about, hey, look what I got, man. You like, you fucking up my money, man. What you doing? Get off the camera.
Tell the past so these niggas are simple, man. Like, come on, man. You need to just really, it sounds like, it's like y'all in a little, like y'all little kids, man. Fucking kindergarten.
Simon Says.
And man, this is Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt to hunt, and that stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and horsemen because they are very strong. That they look not into the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord their help. Because y'all trust into Egypt, man. Y'all go down here for help. Anything that terror you think is helping and benefiting you. Like all this protesting, they still blowing your ass down. You think they fucking come on, man.
They ain't gonna get it.
All them care, you know.
Protest this nigga, bang, bang, bang. Bang.
We got a reward and shot people down at the notion of having a reward and
yeah, you know he gonna get all kind of GoFundMe. Right. That dude gonna be he's a celebrity already. Yeah. You know, this is right. He might get in trouble, you know, but he's still gonna come out of it. He'll have a bank account set up and everything.
They said Donald Trump congratulated for popping them niggas in the street. So he was getting a reward. They like, hey man, we have some.
Yeah, he'll see. Yeah, he down there thinking this John Wick on fall on the ground shooting. Good job, Kyle.
Exactly. So he getting a reward.
You think he ain't inspired some more guys? It's gonna be guys that like, man, I got more moves than him. I got
Right. More skill.
2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us. We are not ignorant of his devices. Right? Because just the other day, right? Just like Elder Malcolm said, you know, they gave him water to shoot people. But then I think it was the following day or 2 days later, the sheriff's gonna come out and say, so anybody that get in trouble right now, we're gonna throw them into jails, throw them into prisons, don't even get no rec time. So you gonna do the same thing for this young man that just killed everybody?
Probably not. Probably not.
You see? But we not.
Matter of fact, he got to go home. When they arrested him, he should have been arrested in Kenosha. That dude went all the way back to Antioch.
Back home.
Yeah, no, he was Antioch.
Walking with his hands up, and they just went right past him.
Right. He left. He got his John Wick on. Got high five. Put all over the internet as a hero. Went back to Antioch. I know he probably got 2 or 3 GoFundMe pages already. You know, he probably already on the wall of every white supremacist in America.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he on the wall of fame with them. What was his name?
Rittenhouse.
Right. My famous song came to life. nigga kill a nigga in the middle.
Right.
You niggas was dumb as hell to rush a nigga with an AR-15.
With no skateboard. Matter of fact, that little red ass kid, he might hurt him. But that's why he was stupid. The Edomite that was in his right mind, he was off of the woods and drunk as fuck. The average Edomite, yeah, yeah, but the one that was kept screaming, shoot me. Right. That dude was a nigga. That dude was fake, man. And he got his red ass
Being destroyed for nothing.
He shoot me, nigga. And the crowd was like, okay. Right in the face, man.
It wasn't for display.
I was like, are you sure?
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what he said, little red ass. So shoot me, nigga. That's what he right. He shot. Yeah, he said it. Kyle was. So matter of fact, they might, maybe he shouldn't even get charged with that one. Just be charged with the other dude. Right. Because the dude told him to do it. I ain't telling nobody to shoot me. I was afraid that, besides, I wanted to help the dying man. He wasn't dead. I know, but he wanted to die, so I helped him.
And you know that nigga smoked like 2 blunts, had his drink on before he even did something. Because who would walk up to an AR-15 and say shoot?
You know, this what I do. Go ahead, huh?
Some people make condition to believe he was right all his life. They had privilege. And drunk and high.
This Proverbs 16 and 18, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit.
Damn, that was him hitting his chest. Shoot me, nigga. Right. Kyle John Wick's ass too, boy.
Face though.
He shot him right in the face. He hit his ass square in the forehead, man.
Damn.
Send a mask. Bam, right there. Right? He was in the spirit world before he hit the ground.
Right, and there's a lot more of them Edomites who they're trigger happy. They got those guns, they go practice it.
That's all they do.
It's just like these missiles. They shoot them all, test them all. What?
Yeah, man, I just watched the video. Tactical training. Yeah, they got all the, and as a matter of fact, the one I just saw, the first, when they start, they put the timer on, the first thing they shot was right in front of them. And that's one of the punching the thing, the ball. And so when they hit it go, he shot from the hip, right in the face, man. And then he went and started hitting all the targets. Once he hit the pistol, he had the big weapon, the rifle strapped to him. And he just brought it around. Finished off the thing.
I see some Edomites that want to shoot contests where it was like the whole thing got them. And then like it'll be like a red light, green light, yellow light, green light. And these motherfuckers, as soon as the shit turned green, they shot from the hit some shit far as fuck. Dude like had a world record like less than a second. He took the gun out the holster and shot the target in less than a second. And then
That's what they give them.
square right in the foot.
They give them the sword.
They're blessing the sword. And then you 2/3 Israelites want to fight against
Right,
somebody.
you think you can out John Wick Esau. You ain't, man. Right, this ain't no boxing match, no wrestling match, man. You bring the swords into it, man. That's Esau's world.
Which brings me to 1 Peter 5 and 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, is roaring as a roaring lion, walking about, seeking who may devour. He looking for you dumb niggas to come do something, come shoot me. We looking for y'all. Matter of fact, y'all offering yourselves. Y'all some damn mouse, man, trying to get inside of a lion's mouth. What you thinking of? This is his sword. This is his finger. You think y'all can get away with that? Y'all gotta think twice, man.
Alright, I got a
Be circumspect.
a piece of it. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 40. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. It shall come to pass that thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break a choke from off thy neck. Amen. Esau's blessed the sword. You can't beat Esau with the Lord had blessed him with. That's right. So it's game over.
And that's why Scripture says, for these are the patience of the saints.
Hey, man. You silly ass niggas want to go around how I go, man. Go ahead, man. Niggas don't know how to shoot. You already killed everybody else instead of your target in the head.
That's right. Right, you go on the block and shoot everybody except the nigga that you looking for.
Right.
You shooting up the old
Look,
women.
like this.
Right, you shooting old women, little
These
kids.
boys know how to shoot like they
Right.
supposed to. They,
And you ain't
niggas
gonna hit
like
no targets turn the gun sideways, fool.
At all. Or the two gun shooting shit. Like, that's only in the movies. That shit don't work in real life. Shit, hey, Esau don't even need to use a gun. He got shit that's beyond guns. He got heart attack guns. He got the microwave gun where it makes you throw up and shit.
Yeah, they got a gun that they aim at you and make you get nauseated and you throw up out control.
Yep.
You know, yeah, you just start throwing up, getting sick, and you can't stop. You know how your body convulses when you throw up? Yeah, man, they just make, what kind of, you just aim a gun at somebody, make them sick. Well, everybody just, all the soldiers just throwing up, puking. They can't aim, they can't fight, but you dry heave.
Shit, Jesse
crazy.
Ventura had that TV show called Conspiracy Theory, and there was a fucking voice gun where they aim the gun at you, and then it shoots sound waves into your mind and makes you hear whatever they want you to hear.
That shit is nuts.
Yeah. So a lot of these people talk about God told me to do it. Esau got some shit that he could put sounds in your head with a sound gun.
Wow, that's yeah. You have right. You have some bugged out Edomite. Yeah. God told him to kill this. Because he didn't put in his damn bed, he could hear shit. Or the demons could actually be talking to him too.
Yeah, that too.
Go ahead.
Look at Genesis 4, Genesis 4 and 1. It says, Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. We know through the scriptures, Esau was the reincarnation of Cain, man. But when you go into the Hebrew word Cain, it means kwayon, which means spear, a weapon. Esau Edom today, got his blessing being a sword. He weaponized everything, man. The food is against you, the air is against you, the water is against you, the concrete is against you, your women is against you. Everything is against you. Esau Edom is wicked, man. This is the book of Psalms, real quick. This is the command precept with it. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who wet their tongue like a sword, bend their bows, shoot their arrows with the bitter words. So not only do they try to keep us down verbally, they do this thing physically, man, mentally, spiritually. Esau Edom, the heart, Esau Edom is deep and wicked, man. And that's why you're gonna get judged, man.
I got a precept real quick. This Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. Hey man, none of these weapons formed against us is going to prosper. That microwave gun, the cyanide gun, aka the heart attack gun, none of that stuff, man. Hey, whoever believes in Yahweh should be ashamed of mountains, man. Alright? And also this one, man. Numbers 23 and 23. It says, surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath Yahweh wrought? Hey man, hey, not even these they little what's that, black magic and all that other stuff they be having on the left hand side, it's not gonna have no effect. Alright?
should not suffer a wish to live, right?
Yep. Hey, this is back in Psalm 4, verse 3. That they may shoot in secret at the hurt. Some do they shoot at him and not. They encourage themselves in an equal matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see us? That just goes with all his wickedness, man, that he was wrong on the face of the earth since he got into power, man. It said they search out iniquity. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded. Most I come to judge, man.
Right, so it's right. The person who gave you the blessing of the seed, you know, the entity that gave you the blessing of the seed, you can't outshoot it. Right? Right. That's for sure.
Isaac gave him
Matter of fact, he said Michael won't show up. So what you think Michael gonna do when he come in there? When he come and stand up for the children of God?
reads most of them that go down to Egypt to help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because there are many. And so like the brothers was talking about not too long ago, man, and how people was walking around up and down the street, hey man, with these masks on, man, and you know, just they protecting themselves from themselves. It makes no sense. And the brother gave the he gave the analogy of how you go into the restaurants. Once you sit down, you take your mask off. Hey man, our people are bugged out, man. They listen to whatever.
Americans are bugged out. This whole place is bugged out. That's right. Like I said, like it just magically stops at the edge of the tape. But they do some witchcraft and say some chants and put salt around the edge of the tape. And you're great. COVID can't come
COVID berry.
Fucking Gandalf, you shout around the town. What the fuck, man? It's stupid, man.
Matthew 4:10. Then said Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy power, and him only shalt thou serve.
That's right. Hey, and that's who we worship, man. We worship Yahweh. Hey, we not thinking about nothing else, man. We're not thinking about what nobody got to come against us with no doctrine, no philosophy. Hey, no COVID-19, man. Hey, man, we gonna look into the Holy One of Israel, man. Hey, that's the only one that can give us salvation. The salvation is of the Jews, man.
The majority of the world know that this is a hoax, man, except for you dumbass Americans, man. Well, I would say about half of you dumbass Americans. There's a big portion of half of America ain't with this mad shit. Especially a lot of the Edomites in the red states. The Republicans is like, this is bullshit. Matter of fact, that's also how you can tell the division, because the majority of the people wearing the mask in public and around is Democrats. Yep, Democrats. Them red states, man, they're acting like this shit ain't even happening. And matter of fact, Bush was a good example. But that guy, those two guys that spoke in California up north, because California is a blue state, but not up in the mountains, it's Mount Shasta. You ever been up there, Mount Shasta, before you cross into the Oregon border? You know, that's red up there. That's what he said. It's red up here. Right.
State already literally have red and most of the red, most of those gun folks make the
them shoot from the hip, but don't miss them. Not like your ass. 50 out 19 rounds of some block. You can hit 5 people and not one of them is the target.
Right.
Everybody rolling around and the target still standing here. It's an honor.
It says, whom the Lord shall console with the spirit of his mouth.
Right, the spirit of his mouth, man. Right? He revealed the secrets to them. Somebody get that Amos still accessible. Yeah, he revealed the secrets to his prophets. And look, the truth of the prophets are literally a scriptural message. Simply because we tell the truth. You know? And we tell the truth on a whole nother level, man. You know? You know, I mean, you got guys like Richie from Boston. Richie killing me, man. and a handful of other people. But Richie also started talking about God, and then all of a sudden started talking about God over everybody. Jesus. You know? That's the Richie that's going to shut up and bring out the facts and pipe down, Richie. Let us do that. We bring on all that other shit. Alright, so we can make videos about it. Alright?
It's Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord will do nothing but reveal secrets unto his servant.
And not to you either, ladies and gentlemen. You make sure your boys. Now you want women like us cheap chips. That cheap. Sit your juicy ass down. You don't talk about it. And that's the case. You know?
Man, y'all, a lot of y'all about to get smoked.
Because hey, the Lord didn't give wisdom to the woman like that. The Lord is not using a woman to be his mouth. Then he said that the sheep of his flock are men. Somebody grab it real quick.
Job 39, verse 17. It says, because Yahweh has deprived them of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding.
Right. So, hey, the Lord didn't give him understanding like that. He gave him his emotions. Right?
Ezekiel 34 and 31. The flock of my master are men.
Right. Amen.
And I am your most high power God.
Read it again for all the Christians out there. All you people that go to church and think you know the Bible. Read it again, man.
This is Ezekiel 34 and 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture are men.
Are men. All right? The Lord is dealing with men, not with women. Women are supposed to be put in a position where they have authority over men.
And I am your most high power God, saith the Lord Yahweh, thy most high power God. Hey man, Yahweh Hashem Shai is only dealing with the men, like the elder said. Ain't no woman, should no woman even be in a position where she got a girl.
Like the one that just went back. Right? Now the cheeks at home, so walking around in uniform trying to tell me what to do.
This is Proverbs 8, and we start at 1. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places by the way in the places of the paths. Which the she is talking about wisdom. It ain't talking about a woman. All right, because wisdom is referred to as a wisdom. All right, Sophia. All right, but look at where the wisdom is coming from. It says, she crieth at the gates and at the entry of the cities, at the coming in at the doors, which that's where we're right now. We're outside sighing and crying, all right? It says, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. It says, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man.
All you women out there, calling in the name of the Father, and call yourself to the Father. Stop it. That's not your job. You out of order. It's not your job. It's not the Lord is not dealing with you like that. And if you be proud, the Lord will jack you up. Now, if you're trying to teach the women, you know, I ain't gonna say nothing about that. But you out here trying to teach flock, you trying to teach Israel, you're going off. Right? I'm sorry, you telling them, if you out there, your message is to the women of Israel, how to be a wife, how to get married. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. But you out here going into the scriptures, battling back and forth, picking the comic book. No, you out here.
You're not supposed to be in a position where you're supposed to speak in front of men. Back in the ancient days, if a woman was supposed to speak in front of a man, she got her ass whooped, but she got put to death. That was completely out of order. You're not supposed to be doing none of that. Teaching, none of that, man. You're supposed to keep your mouth shut. You gotta teach the Lord. You say you want to teach and testify, you only got nuts.
Hey, Alright, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. Let the woman learn the sound of all subjection. Verse 12, but I suffer not women to teach,
Somebody go
nor to observe authority over the men, but serve. Observe, you serve.
You serve.
Authority over the men and sound.
Hold on, brother, slow down. Go back to that word subjection. Somebody give me that etymology. Give me the etymology of that word. And then when you want to look it up,
Subjection. I got you. It's Huguenots, however you say it. The act of subjecting, obedience, subjection, subordination.
So a subordinate, right? A subordinate is someone that's under you, right?
This is Genesis 3. conception, and sorrow that shall bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Right, so you ask the average woman, was it a joyful time bringing forth your children? And they gonna look at you like you're crazy. They gonna be like, hell no. All right, they bring forth their children in sorrow, and they can't get away from it. Then when they try to take them epidurals, then they be all sick for days after they take that shit.
Back all, yeah.
Right.
Which proves that the Bible is real.
Right, you can't get around it, man. And you know why you women have to suffer that? Because it's another woman. All right, not a man. Just so you know. So every time you in there having a child and you in pain, you know, I imagine a lot of women gonna slap the shit out of Eve. There she is.
Some of the women dying late.
Huh?
Giving birth to a child. So hey, that fully dude, and that ain't on a deep level, but that's some you people will think that's deep. Oh man, like yeah, that's in the Bible, nigga.
Right, it says, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over you. There goes the subordinate.
Right. And he shall rule over you. Right, you'll support me. Right.
I got one, this same thing. 1 Corinthians 14 and 34. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it's not permitted until them to speak.
Right, so that's all you women out there with your Israelite channels. Right?
But they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law.
Was it? You know what? Did you write that yesterday? I know I didn't write it.
Yeah, it was definitely right here.
Right. So yeah, exactly. That's what the prophets. Yeah. So yeah, that's straight from the word of the Lord. Man. We didn't write that.
This
we didn't get together. Let's just make up some rules so we can be no, man, the Lord set it up.
As soon as we bring this out, that's the first thing they say. Oh, that was written by men. Like everything you read,
Right,
that
but
was
you've
in the Quran.
been down for Jesus, for Lord Jesus, the whole time.
Good. This 1 Corinthians 14. I'm gonna start up on verse 33. For Yahweh is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
That one doctrine, man. That one truth and that one doctrine.
Yep.
We're not all out here speaking different things.
Yep. There ain't no confusion with those wasn't no women speaking. And that would have been confusion in the church. That's why she was supposed to be under obedience.
Right, like in what was that? Esther, I think it was. She was afraid to go up to the king because you had to be summoned to go up to the king and speak.
Right.
You know, so she had to pray and fast before she went up.
Esther was in the right mind, because even she was in a position of royalty. She was the queen of Persia, and she still sought counsel from Mordecai, man. She never looked up to Mordecai. Mordecai was low at the time, man. You know? So Esther was in her right mind. Esther was on the level. Esther was all Israel.
Right. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order. If you haven't noticed by now, the word's all about order. Everything on this side is what? Out of order. That means something about order of the man. That's just out of order. When we teach a man, that's out of order. And in order, it's all about order.
This 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh.
That sounds like order.
So it's Yahweh Shai, man, then woman. Alright? And what that scripture say? He saw a new thing in the earth.
Jeremiah 31 and 22.
But then you know you got that nigga woman. She can't stand being told what to do. She ain't gonna tell her what to do. I've been on my own all my life.
Good.
I'm 17. I'm
Stay
grown.
that
You
way.
can't tell me shit. This is Psalms 31:18. Let the lying lips be put to silence, which speak grievous things proudly and contemptuously against the righteous. Like, it's plain. Just shut your ass up. Period. You already know the order of everything, so don't go out of order. It's plain.
This Jeremiah 31 and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh had created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right, and that's very new. And this was thousands of years ago. And even in the time of, shit, I don't even want to say slavery, even after slavery. Even the woman didn't compass a man until the late 60s, the early 70s, the mid 70s.
Right.
You know, with the feminism movement. I just the precept of brother, you know.
They started wearing jeans not too long ago. You know, because before they was wearing dresses and shit.
Yeah,
My grandma told me.
the jeans came along in the 50s.
Right.
Them rebellious ass, that was the rebellious ass Edomite women.
Yeah, when you got
They came out with the fashion jeans. They came about in like the late 50s.
Yeah.
Going into the 60s, you know, that's when that rebellious spirit of the woman was being pushed by Esau Edom. By the time the 70s came around, you know, Judite families were being destroyed by feminism. All right, and all through the 80s and 90s, and look at the youth now, the young generation that was born from broken families, or those who were born to the mothers who had rode the clock carousel doing 30 dudes before she got with your father and all that kind of shit. All right, you look at the condition of the black people, and that's why the scripture said only adulterers of our generation.
Hey, this is just the conduct, you know, the women, just going back to the ancient conduct. Hey, this is 1 Kings 1. This is 1 Kings 1 and 15. It says, and Bathsheba went unto the king into the chamber, and the king was very old. So it's talking about King David in his elderly state. All right. It says, and Abishag the Shunammite ministered unto the king. So here it is. You had a young woman in the bed with the king. You gotta set the scene when you read the scriptures, man. So you had a young woman in the bed with the king, and his wife walked in. It said, and Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance unto the king, and the king said, what is thou? So here it is. You got a man in the bed with another woman chilling, and his woman come in the room, and she bowed. Obeisance means bowed down. She bowed before she even started the conversation. Our women ain't on no type of level. You think your woman gonna do that? Get out of here, man. Your woman wanna look at your phone and all type of BS, man.
She wanna swipe to the left and right.
Right, your woman is a type.
Look at your messages and stuff.
Yeah, and I ain't playing that shit. Yeah, she wanna she
Meanwhile, she got all kind of dick pics in her phone.
Yep, adulterous text. See, because you gotta understand, in the modern age, especially with this is the generation of simple in social media. In Chicago alone, right? Your woman got a little boyfriend. She go out to the dance and she niggas talking shit. She got 500 messages on Facebook, another 300 on Instagram, another 200 on Snapchat. Then you go tell that bitch to make you a sandwich. She like, sandwich. See, that's the generation we live in. This is the end, man. What the fuck is a sandwich? Right. Right. What the fuck is a sandwich? They set up a fucking camera, come in the room and jump on they got a video of them bitches doing that, man. Oh yeah, that's what the hell was right there. Putting it online, smacking the girl over the head with a stick. Yeah, but he's doing that. Hey, that bitch, I'm speaking for me, I ain't speaking for you, bro. But that bitch will learn that day her teeth look better in her mouth. That every day, that we all got. That's like a man with a skill, man. I say that shit on here. When she setting up my shit, but ain't nobody holding it, man. She's going to get a show out. And you the woman gotta show out. Yeah. I got you. It's one person.
This is Judges 5:30. And this is from the woman. It says, have they not spread? Have they not divided the bread?
talking about it's a shame for a man to want something poverty. Because when you went to war in the ancient world, man, you wasn't coming back on fucking opioids, PTSD, and all this bullshit.
Right? Men came back, and then they shared the wealth.
Right?
Right? They shared the wealth, man.
When the ones who stood behind to like keep the lookout and shit, they still got some of the spoils. They divided the spoils among the ones who stood behind to basically be like lookouts and shit. You know? That was righteous.
Trust children.
Yeah, right. The man who gets left to defend the city gate. What happens when you going out to fight when you can attack? This man is defending your home, your child, your son, your daughter, your wife. So he can't get them the spoils. He got chosen for that for a reason.
Right?
Because they knew if clearly they knew, hey, this ain't gonna get out. Right? Exactly.
You got a lot of unworthy scriptures. You know, because they don't want to never, they always want to lead the other man out, man. When he's helping you anyway, he's doing a good deed, you know? That shit ain't cool, man, but that's why the Lord gonna smoke 2/3 of the niggas, man. Y'all gotta go, man. Y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go. This is Zechariah, I'm going my picture. Doing what the Lord gonna do. This is Zechariah 13:8. Saying, and it should come to pass that in all the land said the Lord Yahweh, she first therein should be cut off and die, but the third should be left therein, so you gotta die. Further lie out, don't suspect, no fucking rules, nothing, man. You niggas want to sleep with other men's women. They want to sleep with other men. They want to sleep with other men, man. On top of that. A lot of the niggas getting caught in Chicago. That's why they say exposed to you niggas, man. That's why they say sin laden with sin, man.
Hey, it's like the brother was talking about. He was talking about these trannies that be on Sunstrip, right?
75th and all.
Yeah, you got these trannies out there, and then it dawned on them like they out here because somebody's buying their services.
All the niggas, hey man.
So I was like, damn.
Hey,
I didn't think about it like that. You're like, look at these. But you know what? They standing out there because these same thug ass so-called weed smoking niggas, right? You so tough, yet you going to buy a tranny.
They love it, man.
Right? So this is a, like I said, this is an adulterous wicked generation, man. It just must be done with.
This is Sodom, man. Hey, somebody get Revelation 11 and 8 real quick.
This is Revelation.
And get the Isaiah. They declare that sin in Sodom. They have, get it. Bring that out first. Bring that out. See? The spirit is undefeated, man. We don't care how you Negroes and Spigroes feel. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah 3:9.
Yeah, she probably
It says they show of their countenance doth witness against them.
right. So in her time, she twisted up her face. She was standing there. As soon as we started talking about how that shit is wrong, she twisted up her face. That bitch probably doing the scissors.
Yeah.
One of her best homies is a tranny.
They always got a trophy. They always say my gay black best friend. And then you always got to be a nigga. Right. Or a split.
That's why King David said, Lord, if I speak this word, I shall offend against the truth of this generation. I'm going to do this for the truth, but they make us for the word.
Right. Here it is. But then you got gangster rap and all this old. I'm going to shoot a nigga in front of his fucking daughter.
And all they do is what the women say, objectify you. They objectify you into their music. All right, but then you got your Cardi B's and your Nicki Minaj's and Foxy Browns and what's the other chick, the Stallion bitch. all you male, willful cocktails. I know they get mad every time I say it. Fuck it. Because look, the only women that are going to be offended when I say that is women who are guilty. Right? Because you hop right, because you the one that's hopping on penis hopping on the
They're not saying
like I said, day is coming real soon, but that cocktail shit will rise your ass. You ain't gonna have no choice in nothing, man. Right?
Isaiah 3:9. The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sins as Sodom, and they hide it not.
Hey, when I was growing up, you had something called in the closet. Well, they out of the damn closet, man. They hide it not. It's called being proud to them. It's called liberation. It's called pride.
Yeah, they used to get beat up when I was a shorty.
Me too, shit.
When I was a shorty, man, yeah, you guys would be walking around, all flamboyant, they had to hide that shit till they got all the way left the hood.
Yeah, that was free money. Where I'm from, that's free money. You see a punk, we used to say, you knock their ass out, get some money, free shit, they got chips, whatever the fuck they got, man. That was free shit. It was free shit.
Yeah, there it is. That's how it was when I was coming up.
Now you got LGB, ABC.
Yeah, and they call it pride. And you know what? It is the pride. That's why the scriptures say the pride of thy heart has deceived thee. Because what they do is they take the rainbow, and the rainbow is a covenant. But see, Esau actually understands, he knows the scriptures. All right, so he does it in his pride to say that the Lord ain't gonna do shit.
Smacking the face.
Right.
That's why he throws that rainbow up.
And it's sad because the rainbow is one of those beautiful things.
Beautiful, man.
That you can observe from on the earth, man. It's a rainbow. So you're gonna take the most righteous, holy, and beautiful thing and turn it into an abomination, man. To where a regular guy, a regular man that's not like that can't even wear it.
Right.
Right? Because now you get looked at like you sitting wrong with you.
We got the Revelation. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And the dead body shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom of Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So wait a minute. He's speaking, and that's parallel. He said that great city, America is a great city. He said which is spiritually called Sodom of Egypt. And you can't die in two places. The Lord died in Israel. It said, well, our Lord was crucified. Why? Because this is Babylon, the melting pot, the place of confusion, which Babylon means confusion. And we just read to you what Sodom was famous for, man.
Right? They crucified his image and his message.
Reputation.
They perverted both.
That's right. You know, they turned him to a family. They said he loved everybody. Hey, loving everybody ain't even balance, man. He's a judge, man. Even if he saw him with the courses, all right, you see what you see. You see the balance. You see the judge, man. Because the judge is about balance, man. And God loves everybody. And that will be balance. That's wickedness, man. That's right. The most balance is an abomination to Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh.
Just wait to see the white.
And just wait to see the white. Ain't not just about letting somebody get away with homosexuality, adultery, all right, treachery, man, blasphemy. This is Proverbs 21, verse 16. The man that wandereth by the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the Lord. Right. Especially if you fall out, you drop out, if you saw things looking at walk out to the world, y'all down to the good. You guys talking about physical babies, y'all can walk the good. Right. Right. And that's why in Matthew 8:22, Yahweh Shai said what? Let the dead bury their own dead. So how can somebody physically dead bury somebody else? That went over a lot of you stupid ass niggas here. Or your pastor scripts having a cat prescribed in the basement. Pork chops out. You got something, brother?
2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. You're not gonna find this in no damn church. Your pastor don't know shit. Your whole congregation in church don't know shit. Okay? All y'all going in there, let's be real, all y'all going in there is spread that gospel. Because y'all
They're looking at the women. Looking at the women.
Looking at the women still doing the same shit. Y'all still eating pork. Okay? Y'all still celebrating Christmas. What the fuck wrong with y'all? Y'all call yourself Christian, but you celebrate pagan holidays. You confounded. Confounded.
You got something, brother? You got some more? This is Jeremiah 4:22. My people they have not known. They are silent children.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Amen. Christianity, churches, Son of Man, Christianity, all this shit is paganism, man. And all this shit is wrong, man. And he created all this shit. So this is bullshit. So
Go ahead, brother. Hosea 4:4. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. He said our people are as they that strive with the priest, man. You niggas come up here talking about. Listen, man. Out of all the years I've been living, out of all the so-called churches I've been to, I've never in my life seen one nigga debate or add shit to the so-called people, man. They ain't gonna do it in the mosque, they ain't gonna do it in that Catholic church. They ain't gonna do it. Not one time, man, but you ought to look at and that's how you know who the chief priests are. All right, standing at the altar making a sacrifice, the scriptures say the fruit of our lips, the offering. We are the priests, man, because our people read that over, read over there, read down the 6. Hosea 4:4. Let no man strive, nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. There you go. Therefore shall thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night. Then I will destroy thy mother. Right. My people are destroyed from not the night, because thou hast rejected thy. I will also reject thee, that thou be the priest. Please, sing thou hast forgotten the law thy Most High God. I will also keep thy children. Right. Right, it's over with. Anybody outside of the 1/3 of this people, 44,000, which I always know, by the way, I'm gonna be totally eviscerated, man. It ain't gonna be nothing left. All right, before that, people die already dead. Whether you stalkers, you bombers, you fallouts, you bitches, anybody who will think the products outside of that man, and you can be fucked. So you gonna come right. All right, hey, with that being said, we want to give all praise and honor and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakadash.
all right, to the elders and apostles and the great men, something we call the truth. All right, led by a great devil. All right, shalom to the host of the night.
And a bomb, ba bomb!
Take that chip.
Take that chip,
Take that vaccine.
Yeah, close it out on
It's on my page.